Hello and welcome to LFC Transfer Hub, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Liverpool transfer update as Newcastle refusing to give up on Alexander Isak. Newcastle is gearing up for another go at Alexander Isak, with the Swedish striker expected to be called in to prepare for next week's match against Leeds at Elland Road. On Friday, Howe stated that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Newcastle's majority owner, would not allow the club to start the first half of the new season without a senior striker, which means Isak's desired move to Liverpool will not be approved unless a replacement is found before the transfer window shuts. After Newcastle received sky-high valuations for Wolves star Jørgen Strand Larsen and Chelsea forward Nicholas Jackson, it seemed like Howe was left with few options by the end of last week. The Isak situation was put on pause as preparations for Monday's Liverpool game ramped up. But Newcastle is bracing for a second bid from the Reds before the window closes. Howe hasn't completely given up on Isak and plans to have further discussions with the Swedish international after the Liverpool game, as reported by Chronicle Live. Whether Isak will be willing to rejoin the team following his controversial decision to skip the club's Far East tour and choose to train independently in Spain last month is still uncertain. Rumors swirling behind the scenes at St. James' Park continue to suggest that Isak's only chance of securing a transfer to Liverpool is for the Reds to make a bid of $200 million. Ahead of the Liverpool match, Howe declared, "We are making decisions based on what we think is the best for Newcastle United. They are being strong on the valuations of players and on how a player leaves the football club. All of these things are important. They are important on this situation and also the future." Last week, Isak posted a firm message on Instagram indicating his desire to depart from Newcastle. On the topic of whether PIF would issue their own statement, Howe commented, "I don't think they, PIF, are trying to make any overall big statement, but just reacting to this individual statement." Isak has scored 62 goals in 109 games for Newcastle since joining the club 3 years ago. Anthony Gordon shows his true colors amid Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer saga. Anthony Gordon has established the atmosphere for Monday's explosive clash with Liverpool by declaring the Alexander Isak saga cannot break Newcastle. The winger, who faces his boyhood club as the main striker on Monday, was targeted by the Reds last year, but ultimately remained at St. James's Park. After regaining his concentration and form, Gordon will be aiming to defeat Liverpool in what promises to be an emotionally charged and deafening bank holiday spectacular. Isak's hesitancy to represent the club following Liverpool's interest has dominated discussions on Tyneside. But Gordon, speaking to BBC Newcastle, commented before the match, "It has been a difficult summer, but you wouldn't have thought it the way we performed, and that is testament to all the players and staff. We are progressing, and I feel like you are seeing the togetherness around the team. Our main strength is togetherness, and nothing is going to break that. Every challenge that comes at us is only going to make us better. Encounters between Newcastle and Liverpool typically don't require additional motivation, but the Isak circumstances have already elevated tensions to unprecedented heights." Gordon required no reminder of the fierce battle awaiting at St. James's Park in the Premier League as Newcastle seek to begin with a victory on home soil. Gordon said, "I think with everything that's gone, I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be a bit wild. I'm just excited to see the home fans again, get back in the stadium. It's going to be a top game." The former Everton star is set to be Newcastle's primary offensive force through the center, and his role has been a hot topic ahead of Monday's game. When asked if Gordon, who gave Aston Villa a tough time in last week's 0-0 draw, could even begin to consider stepping into Isak's shoes, head coach Eddie Howe responded, "I don't think anyone can fill Alex's boots, and Anthony will know that himself. He's not trying to be Alex. He's got to be himself." I think if he'd scored against Aston Villa, you'd go, that's the perfect number 9 performance. I think he had 7 shots in the game, he looked a threat, and he got a man sent off. He was using his qualities, which are his pace and his dribbling skills, so I thought it was a really good performance from him. Yes, of course, we were missing the goal from the team's overall performance, but hopefully those will come. Alexander. Isak to Liverpool transfer suspicion as PSR forces Newcastle to rush huge decision. Liverpool are in a race against time to sign Alexander Isak before the transfer window slams shut. The Newcastle United striker has been heavily linked with a move to Anfield this summer, as Arne Slot looks to bolster his attacking options. According to the I paper, the Reds are yet to submit a second bid for Isak. The report claims Liverpool have not submitted an improved proposal since they had an opening bid worth 110 million rejected at the start of August, due to the strength of the Magpies' rebuttal. However, it said there's a suspicion at St. James's Park that the Premier League champions will lodge another bid before September 1st. The I paper reckons that Newcastle won't sell Isak unless his price tag, which could be in excess of 150 million, is met. While the Tyneside outfit are determined to hold on to the Sweden international, they reportedly require a big sale in order to remain compliant with Profit and Sustainability Rules, PSR. The report adds that if Isak stays, someone else will have to be sold in the future. Speaking to reporters ahead of Newcastle's clash against Liverpool on Monday night, Eddie Howe confirmed that the Swede won't be in the matchday squad. The Magpies. Boss also commented on the standoff. My preference for these things is it doesn't happen publicly because I think everything is better dealt with behind closed doors, said Howe. But needs must. And this situation the club has spoken, and probably justifiably so in that moment. The Newcastle boss added, yeah, of course, Isak can be reintegrated into the squad. He's contracted to us. He's our player. My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be, and that is regrettable at this moment. But 100%, I want to see him back in a Newcastle shirt. On his relationship with Isak, Howe said, I haven't seen him this week, I don't think. I saw him last week. When I see him, we speak as normal. There are no issues there between us. Of course, it's a difficult situation from both sides. I can see it's far from ideal for both parties, and that includes Alex and us. When we see each other, we're fine and we speak. But as I say, I haven't run into him this week. He's training later on, detached from the group, and of course, then I'm in meetings and pulled all over the place during the day. My days are chaotic because there is so much going on in them. But we will, I'm sure, catch up at some stage and hopefully speak soon. According to our colleagues at the Chronicle, Isak is set to be asked to prepare for Newcastle's clash against Leeds United at Elland Road next week. The report claims that the Magpies have been priced out of moves for Jorgen Strand Larsen and Nicholas Jackson, potentially leaving Howe without a senior frontman. Liverpool weigh options in 75 Premier League transfer swap deal. With the summer window rapidly closing, Liverpool's recruitment team continues to work deep into the night. The latest link, a 75M pursuit of Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers, may have surprised a few, but when put under the microscope, it fits the evolving blueprint of Arne Slot's attacking system, especially after the summer window thus far. At 23, the former Manchester City Academy product has developed into a powerful runner and dynamic dribbler, a player capable of carrying the ball through pressure and breaking defensive lines in transition. Rogers may not carry the headline reputation of Liverpool's traditional superstar targets, but he represents a profile that could elevate the team's attacking variation. Slot has sought versatility across his front line, and Rogers offers exactly that. A left-winger by trade, but also comfortable as a number 10 or even in a false 9 role. He would add raw explosiveness to complement the elegance of Mohamed Salah, the guile of Florian Wirtz, and, if sealed, the predatory instincts of Alexander Isak. It would be a signing born as much out of opportunity as design. Villa, forced to comply with PSR regulations, may have to sanction an exit. Liverpool, who have operated with precision all summer, would be ready to strike and potentially grab a player that would only add to the red fire. The Elliott equation: as one door opens, another may be set to close. Harvey Elliott's future at Anfield has long been the subject of debate, and the links with Aston Villa could bring clarity. The 22-year-old remains a hugely talented footballer, yet in a squad brimming with midfield options and new attacking dynamics, his role risks becoming diminished. Villa's admiration, combined with earlier approaches from Brentford, Tottenham, and RB Leipzig, shows there is no shortage of suitors. A deal in the region of 45 to 50 million could suit all parties. Liverpool would bank a healthy profit on a player they developed into an England hopeful, while Elliott would gain the regular starts his career trajectory demands. For Villa, he could become a creative pivot in Unai Emery's system, softening the blow of losing Rodgers while still enhancing their own long-term strategy. This isn't about Liverpool discarding a prospect. It's about maximizing value and balance. The club have operated shrewdly in player trading under Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, and this scenario has all the hallmarks of another carefully engineered exchange. Shaping the new attack: Liverpool's attack is in the process of being remodeled for the post-Luis Diaz era, and the potential twin deals of Rodgers and Elliott could define the next step. Slot has been tasked with creating an offensive unit that blends pace, power, and technical craft, and a wide forward with Rodgers' skill set ticks every box. Meanwhile, Elliott's departure would free space, funds, and opportunities for other rising stars such as Rio Numoha or Trey Nyoni. These moves aren't without risk. Rodgers has yet to prove himself consistently at Champions League level, and Elliott could flourish elsewhere in a way that stings Liverpool later. Yet, when considering the tactical balance, financial implications, and long-term squad evolution, the logic is sound. One player exits, another arrives, and Liverpool's machine keeps moving forward. In a window where precision has been the theme, a late swap of Rodgers in and Elliott out might just be the final stroke that ties together a clever summer of work. Alexander Isak could make dramatic Newcastle U-turn after Liverpool collapse. Alexander Isak could still play for Newcastle United again if his transfer to Liverpool falls through. Sources have told Football Insider the Swedish striker has made his desire to move to Anfield abundantly clear, with Newcastle fans furious at the way he has conducted himself. Liverpool submitted an opening offer totaling $120 million for the 24-year-old's services, which was rejected by the Magpies, and have yet to return with an improved bid. Sources say that if Isak's switch to Merseyside doesn't end up happening, then he still has a way back into the fold at St. James's Park, despite his actions. Alexander. Isak has no choice if Liverpool transfer fails, if Isak is still a Newcastle player when the transfer window closes at the start of September. Then it leaves both the club and the player in a predicament. The Swede has reportedly said he will never play for the Magpies again, but may be forced to apologize and return with his tail between his legs. In a situation where his move to Liverpool falls through, Isak has to remain at Newcastle until at least January, when the window reopens. Instead of sitting out and missing 6 months of his career, the logical thing for the forward to do would be to try and reintegrate himself into the squad. If he starts scoring goals again, then the saga will be forgotten very quickly. Newcastle must pay big money for Premier League striker. Meanwhile, Newcastle will have to pay over the odds if they're to sign Jorgen Strand Larsen from Wolves this summer, sources have told Football Insider. The Magpies are still in the market for a striker due to the whole situation regarding Isak. Wolves are hesitant to sell their number 9 just weeks after his permanent transfer, and as a result will demand a huge 60 million package for Strand Larsen, more than double the 25 million they paid to Celta Vigo. Newcastle sees $68 million transfer bid rejected as Alexander Isak wait continues. Wolverhampton Wanderers has rejected a transfer bid worth around 68 million, 50 million, from Newcastle United for the Norwegian striker Jorgen Strand Larsen. Liverpool retains an interest in Alexander Isak, of course, with the Reds set to take on Newcastle at St. James's Park later Monday. But a public statement from the Northeast club last week suggested the conditions it required for the sale of the Swede would not be met before the transfer deadline, which comes in just 7 days. In part, those conditions are likely to include Newcastle signing a suitable replacement for Isak, which has so far proven impossible. The likes of Hugo Ekitike and João Pedro have chosen to move elsewhere. According to the Daily Mail, Wolves view the 68 offer for Strand Larsen as too small. It also believes that Newcastle would be unable to present a large enough bid to prove. Tempting before September 1, it remains to be seen whether or not Newcastle will go back in with a second offer for Strand Larsen. The club has also been chasing Brentford forward Yoane Wissa, so far unsuccessfully. "I don't think the club will allow that situation to happen," Eddie Howe said when asked about the prospect of not bringing in at least one more attacker before the window closes. "We certainly can't go through the season with no recognized striker at the football club, and that's no disrespect to Will Osula. I think he's doing really well and he's progressing really well, but he's got limited experience in the Premier League, although I'm really happy with his career progression. But Alex at the moment would be the only striker we have with Premier League history of goals and appearances and starts, so we can't leave ourselves in that position." Anthony Gordon filled in at number 9 last weekend against Aston Villa, and the England ace is expected to play there again when Newcastle hosts Liverpool today. "He's an attacker, and he's a very good attacker," Howe said. "The beauty of Anthony when we signed him was he can play right, left, and potentially down the middle, something that he has done before. He's done it for England, so it's not something totally new to him. I don't think anyone can fill Alex's boots, and Anthony will know that himself. He's not trying to be Alex. He's got to be himself. I think if he'd scored against Aston Villa, you'd go, that's the perfect number 9 performance. I think he had 7 shots in the game. He looked a threat. He got a man sent off. He was using his qualities, which are his pace and his dribbling skills. So I thought it was a really good performance from him. Yes, of course we were missing the goal from the team's overall performance, but hopefully those will come." Thank you for watching. Like and comment. Subscribe.